About 5 years ago, I was in a dark place in my life. I had just gone through a terrible breakup, lost my job due to cutbacks, and my older sister Janelle passed away, all within 3 months of each other. I was in despair, I was angry, and I was questioning everything. I didn't trust anyone. The breakup left me homeless basically because I had let the lease run out on my apartment and moved in with him about a year prior. I thought it was the right thing to do at the time. We had been together a year and a half, and I thought we were headed for marriage. Boy, did I think wrong. Luckily, we didn't have any children or pets to fight over. The apartment was in his name, so I was SOL and had to find a place to stay. My best friend Mel insisted I stay with her, but I insisted her studio apartment with barely 390 square feet of space was far too small for both of us and her dog. So she insisted on the next best thing in her mind, staying in her brother's apartment while he was gone for the next 8 weeks at basic training. Come on, you know Brad adores you. It'll help him. He won't have to hire someone to collect his mail and water his plants. Plus, you can get on your feet, she insisted. Okay, tell him thank you and I owe him. Thankfully, she caught Brad 2 days before he was due to leave, and he was thankful because he couldn't find anyone willing to come collect his mail and packages and water the plants a couple times a week. She gave him my number and we chatted back and forth, thanking one another profusely. Make yourself at home, just don't mind Casper, he said. Casper? I responded. Yeah, Mel swears my apartment is haunted because it's old and has a few electrical and plumbing issues, but I think she's crazy, he responded. About to head into training, I won't have my phone. See you in 8 weeks, he said. I left my hotel room, eager to get out. It was full of negative energy. I had cried myself to sleep plenty of nights since the breakup and Janelle passing. I got to the apartment around 4 p.m. and found Brad had left a bouquet of flowers on the table with a thank you note. On the way over, I'd gotten a call with an interview offer for 2 days from now, so things were looking up, I guess. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It was really nice of Brad to let me stay, let alone he set out fresh linens, and in the guest bathroom he left fresh towels and toiletries. It had been a long day, well, a long week really, and I fell asleep somewhere around 10 p.m. that evening while watching some cheesy Lifetime movie. I was woken sometime later when all the lights turned on and there was a beeping coming from the kitchen. Making my way there, I realized it was the microwave. It was beeping and flashing the word end as if someone had heated something up. But I didn't use the microwave. I ordered takeout. Taking care to shut off each light and the microwave, I headed back to the bedroom I would be calling mine, and poured myself into the empty queen-size bed. It must have been comfortable enough because I was out in no time. Sometime later, I was again woken, but this time it was by the sound of water coming from the bathroom. That can't be good, I thought, rushing in to find the sink faucet running at full pressure. Oh great, I said, assessing just how much water had made it out of the sink. Luckily it was just on the empty counter and a bit on the floor. Right, electrical and plumbing problems, I reminded myself. That's all it was. Though modernly renovated, the building he lived in was old. After everything was cleaned up and I had used the restroom, I hopped back into bed and eventually fell back to sleep. The next day, I spent most of my time applying for more jobs from my laptop and completing mock interviews to practice for the following day. I really wanted this position. It was in the courthouse working in the child support division, and I'd applied for dozens of courthouse positions over the last year and a half, even before my job letting me go. I decided to soak in a bubble bath and do a sheet mask before painting my nails for the following day. I made it a habit to try to pamper myself like this once a week, but hadn't done so since my sister's passing. It felt good to be getting into a routine again. I had some of those fancy Lush bubble bars, so I chose one and ran it under the water until I had enough bubbles to sink into. So relaxed I was almost asleep. I screamed when the bathroom door slammed shut. I had left it propped open slightly, just so I could hear if anyone tried getting into the apartment. Something I'd always done, no matter where I stayed, if I was alone. I can't stress to you how unnerving it is to be defenseless, alone in a place in a bathtub full of bubbles, when the door slams. My heart was about ready to beat out of my chest onto the floor. I didn't even rinse off. I grabbed my towel, stepped out, wrapped it around me, and made it to my phone. Another thing I always did, when I felt unsafe, I kept my finger on the call button with 911 on the screen ready to go if need be. I did not want to open the bathroom door. I was 100% sure someone was waiting out there to harm me. But I couldn't stay in the bathroom forever either. Here goes, I thought to myself. I slowly opened the door, trying not to make much noise. But there was no one around, at least in my room. Slowly, I made it to my bedroom door to look out. There was no one in the hallway either. I was about to breathe a sigh of relief when I heard movement in the kitchen. "Don't pass out, don't pass out, don't pass out," I repeated, hand on my phone in my pocket, ready to hit send. When I turned into the kitchen, I nearly passed out. There was a man standing in front of the fridge, facing my direction. He was smiling ear to ear, started walking towards me, then disappeared. I fell to the floor in tears, probably more out of relief it was apparently a ghost and not an intruder there to harm me. I called Mel, voice still shaking, and explained what had just happened. "I told Brad the place is haunted," she nearly yelled. "Well, why didn't you tell me?" I said accusingly. "Sorry, I just really wanted you to have a place to stay. He's harmless, Casper, he really is. Do you want me to come over?" "No, if I were you, I'd stay away from me at the moment," I said, half jokingly. I stayed there the entire time Brad was in boot camp, and actually, we made such a good roommate team, I stayed longer. I got the job, so I was able to pay Brad rent and still save from my own place. Whoever it was that haunted the apartment, he continued to prove to be harmless. Eventually, I got used to his antics, and Brad finally believed Mel since I was a witness as well. I would have knocked my best friend out for not telling me. Wait, is that against community guidelines? I would have gently nudged her, lovingly. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It took a lot of courage to stay there after that, and I'm so sorry for the loss of your sister. If you have a paranormal story to share, email it to the address in the description below. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't. Someday we will climb out of the YouTube dungeon and onto the streets. And with that, see you tomorrow, friends.